Look around the world today. Every country claims to be unique, but some are trapped in prisons of their own making. And no, I'm not talking about North Korea or some faraway dictatorship. I'm talking about two shiny, supposedly developed nations that tourists drool over, Singapore and Japan. But here's the dirty little secret. Singapore is nothing more than a five-star jail cell, while Japan is a theme park where the entry ticket never stops charging your wallet. In fact, let me borrow a phrase that captures it perfectly. Singapore is imprisoned by its size, Japan is imprisoned by its costs, and both are inmates in their own borders. Tell me, what joy is there in that? Now slow down, don't click away just yet. Because if you think I'm exaggerating, stay with me. Over the next few minutes, I'll break down exactly how these two countries, often praised as the jewels of Asia, are really just two different flavors of confinement. One is a hamster cage with air conditioning, the other a giant shopping mall that robs you every time you breathe. So buckle up. By the end of this video, you'll see why living in Singapore or Japan isn't a dream. It's a sentence. And you'll want to tell me in the comments, which prison would you rather serve your time in? Japan sells itself to the world as a land of culture, cherry blossoms, and anime fantasies. But let's be brutally honest. Once you step outside of your Instagram filter, you realize the entire country is basically one gigantic ATM machine, and you're the one being robbed. Want to ride the train? Congratulations, you just donated your savings account. JR East isn't a transportation company, it's a tax collection agency with tracks. A round trip from Tokyo to Osaka will make you question whether teleportation technology is actually cheaper. Oh, and don't forget, your ticket comes with a free serving of elbow to ribcage, courtesy, during rush hour. Hungry? Step into a restaurant. Sure, the menu looks affordable at first glance, but add tax, service charge, and the hidden Tokyo surcharge, and suddenly your bowl of ramen costs more than a Singapore condo down payment. And that's before you buy a bottled water at a convenience store, because apparently Japan is the only place in the world where a 500 milliliters PET bottle feels like a luxury investment. Housing? Don't even get me started. Tokyo apartments are glorified shoeboxes with thin walls that let you hear your neighbor's marital problems in real time. And yet, landlords charge like you're renting Versailles. You're not paying for space. You're paying for the privilege of saying, yes, I live in Tokyo, while crying quietly into your cup noodles. Let's face it, Japan isn't a country. It's a wallet-draining prison where every exit gate comes with a price tag. You think you're free to wander, but no, your money is the only thing allowed to leave. And the irony? Japanese people have normalized this suffering. They call it safety, quality, and culture. But from the outside, it just looks like Stockholm Syndrome with better packaging. So the question isn't whether Japan is expensive. The question is, how long can you survive inside this prison before your bank account files for divorce? Japan's tourism brochures love to sell authentic experiences. And nowhere does this fantasy get more absurd than with the country's obsession with onsen, hot springs, beautiful photos of mist rising over a tranquil mountain bath, wooden tubs glowing under paper lanterns, and a geisha-esque attendant bowing politely. It's basically a still from a Studio Ghibli movie. Now fast forward to reality. You've paid for the train ticket, the taxi up the mountain, and the ryokan booking. You're standing at the reception desk. The smiling staff hands you a key, some origami-like instructions, and then says the magic words. That'll be $500 a night for the privilege of boiling yourself alive in water that smells like eggs. Yes, you heard that right. $500 for a glorified kettle with a futon attached. And don't be fooled by the inclusive dinner. You're basically eating 3 slices of sashimi and a pickled vegetable sampler that costs them about $8 at the local supermarket. But it's kaiseki, so you nod like an obedient pilgrim, Instagram it, and pretend this is the peak of your spiritual journey. And the water? It's sulfuric. It smells like rotten eggs. It stains your towel. It's nature's way of saying this is not for human bathing, yet you paid a small mortgage to sit in it while trying to look enlightened. The locals swear it cures everything from back pain to heartbreak. Maybe it does, but it also cures your wallet of any remaining bills. This is Japan's genius. taking basic human suffering, heat, sulfur, tiny rooms, and repackaging it as authentic tradition. You don't question it because everyone around you is smiling through the pain. And that's the real spectacle, not the onsen, but the synchronized performance of mass self-delusion. So next time you dream of escaping to Japan for a healing retreat, remember, you're not a guest. You're an inmate paying for your own execution bath. If there's one thing Japan does better than anyone else, it's convincing people that suffering is an art form. From tea ceremonies to kimonos to the Shinkansen, every so-called cultural treasure is basically a bill wrapped in ritual. Take the tea ceremony. In theory, it's about mindfulness, tranquility, and harmony. In practice, you're sitting on your knees until your legs go numb, watching someone stir matcha powder with a bamboo stick like they're casting a spell. The tea? Bitter, foamy, and costs about 5 cents to make. But because you're in Japan, you pay $100 for the privilege of drinking what tastes like lawn clippings while pretending this is enlightenment. Or kimonos. Beautiful, right? Flowing silk, intricate designs, centuries of tradition. But try renting one in Kyoto as a foreigner. First, they'll wrap you so tightly you can't breathe. Then they'll charge you $200 for an outfit that makes you look like an extra from a low-budget historical drama. The kicker? You can't even walk properly, so your authentic stroll through the old streets is just you waddling like a penguin while locals quietly laugh at your suffering. And let's not forget the Shinkansen, Japan's pride and joy. Sleek, fast, efficient, but also outrageously expensive. A round trip from Tokyo to Kyoto costs more than a budget flight to Thailand, where at least you'll get a beach and a cocktail instead of a plastic bento box and a stranger snoring next to you. They call it the romance of the rails. I call it paying through the nose to watch rice fields blur by at 300 kilometers per h. Japan has mastered this formula. Take something mundane, package it as sacred tradition, add a layer of unnecessary discomfort, and then charge foreigners triple. The brilliance? Nobody complains. They smile, bow, and write glowing TripAdvisor reviews about how life-changing it was to sweat in a silk straitjacket or drink hot grass juice in silence. Luxury masochism, Japanese edition, where culture isn't something you enjoy, it's something you endure. Ah yes, Japan, the culinary paradise, the land where sushi is elevated to a religion and ramen is treated like a national treasure. Food here isn't just nourishment, it's a fetish. And like every good fetish, it comes with a hefty price tag. Let's start with sushi. People fly across the world to eat at a Tokyo sushi counter with only 6 seats, where the chef scowls at you for daring to exist. You sit there sweating under his judgment as he places one piece of raw fish on your plate the size of a credit card. You chew for 10 seconds, nod respectfully, and then, bam, there goes $30. Multiply that by 20 pieces and congratulations. You've just spent $600 to still feel hungry. Now, Michelin stars. Japan has more of them than anywhere else in the world, which sounds impressive until you realize Michelin stars are basically the world's most expensive participation trophies. Do you think every ramen shop in Tokyo is life-changing? Spoiler, it's noodles, broth, and sodium, but slap a Michelin logo on it, raise the price to $20 a bowl, and tourists line up for 3 hours like they're queuing for salvation. Then there's Wagyu beef. Oh, the poetry, the marbling, the tenderness, the flavor. Except nobody tells you that half the experience is psychological. You're not tasting the cow, you're tasting the price tag. They put a slab of fat in front of you, charge $200 for a few slices, and you convince yourself you're in culinary heaven. Meanwhile, the cow is somewhere in Kobe laughing its tail off. And don't get me started on convenience store worship. Foreigners lose their minds over 7-Eleven egg sandwiches and Lawson fried chicken. Yes, they're good for convenience store food. But when people start acting like Family Mart is the 9th wonder of the world, you know the bar is on the floor. Here's the truth. Japanese food culture isn't about food. It's about status, ritual, and paying to suffer politely. Whether it's waiting in line for hours, emptying your wallet at a sushi counter, or worshipping a Michelin guide like it's the Bible, the result is the same. You're still hungry, still broke, and still pretending it was worth it. Because in Japan, Eating isn't about joy, it's about submission. If Japan is a wallet-draining prison, then Singapore is a luxury hamster cage. Everything works, everything's clean, and you never really die of hunger. But let's be clear, you're still running on a wheel, going nowhere, under 24-hour surveillance. Step outside and you'll see it immediately. Order, efficiency, glass towers polished until they blind you. But behind this glittering facade, it's basically a giant shopping mall that accidentally became a country. Orchard Road isn't just a street, it's a treadmill. You walk, you spend, you walk some more. Congratulations, you've experienced 80% of Singaporean life. And then there's the housing. HDB flats, tiny, stacked, government-issued hamster cages, marketed as the Singapore dream. Want more space? Good luck. A private condo here costs as much as a palace anywhere else in Asia, except you get one bedroom, a pool you share with 200 other families, and security guards watching you like you're plotting a coup. Food? Ah yes, hawker centres. The holy grail of Singaporean pride. Everyone brags about chicken rice, laksa, and kaya toast. But let's be honest, it's cheap, tasty, and after 3 days you're wondering why you're sweating buckets in 35-degree humidity, just to eat the same plate of oily noodles again. At some point, even the hamster wants variety. And don't forget the rules. Singapore is obsessed with rules. No chewing gum, no jaywalking, no eating on the train. It's not a country. It's a giant kindergarten with better GDP. Everyone behaves not because they're moral saints, but because Big Brother has a fine system that makes Japan's train conductors look merciful. Yes, Singapore is safe, modern, and efficient. But let's not kid ourselves. It's a cage with AC. You don't notice the bars because the air smells like disinfectant and the malls pump in artificial happiness. You live comfortably, but you'll never escape the wheel. So ask yourself, is it really freedom if your life upgrade is just trading a Tokyo prison cell for a Singaporean hamster cage? So here we are, two nations, two cages, two different flavors of confinement. Japan, the grand wallet-draining prison, where culture is sold as pain and the bill never stops growing. And Singapore, the hamster cage with air conditioning, where everything is polished, efficient, and suffocatingly safe. Let's line them up. Space. Japan has plenty of land, but makes you live in a shoebox. Singapore has no land, but still makes you live in a shoebox. So either way, you're watching Netflix on a futon while pretending you're cosmopolitan. Costs. Japan bleeds you dry with hidden charges, transport, housing, sushi, even hot spring water that smells like rotten eggs. Singapore doesn't bother hiding it. The whole country is one giant price tag. You pay up front in bold letters with service charge included. Freedom. In Japan, you're free to roam but chained by cost. In Singapore, you're financially stable but micromanaged by laws that treat you like a naughty schoolchild. Either way, you're not free, you're managed. Culture. Japan drowns you in overpriced rituals disguised as enlightenment. Singapore sterilizes everything until culture means another shopping mall atrium with a K-pop concert. One is suffering with style, the other is boredom with receipts. So which is worse? Being an inmate in Japan's financial prison or a hamster in Singapore's sanitized cage? One drains your wallet, the other drains your soul. One punishes your bank account, the other punishes your imagination. And here's the kicker. Tourists worship both. They call Japan magical and Singapore futuristic. But those who actually live there, they're not citizens, they're lifers serving time. So what have we learned? Japan isn't a dream. It's a financial correctional facility where every ramen bowl, every Shinkansen ticket, every sulfuric hot spring is just another way to bill your existence. And Singapore? It's a 5-star laboratory cage where you're fed, safe, monitored, and applauded for running in circles. The truth is, both countries are brilliant at the same trick, disguising confinement as lifestyle. They don't give you freedom, they give you options for how you'd like to be trapped. Do you want to be the broke monk in Japan, worshipping culture while your wallet commits suicide? Or the polished rodent in Singapore, jogging inside a glass tower cage while malls pump in the scent of artificial success? Either way, you're not living free. You're just paying different wardens. And here's the irony: people outside still beg to immigrate, still dream of the Japanese way or the Singapore model. It's like watching people fight over whether they want the top bunk or bottom bunk in the same prison cell. So let's make this personal. If you had to serve your time, where would you rather be locked up? Japan's wallet-draining prison or Singapore's hamster cage with luxury aircon? Comment below. I'm dying to see which cell block fills up first. Because remember, happiness isn't freedom in these places. It's just learning to decorate your bars.